Hello, everybody. Stu Smith and Jeff Nichols here with the Tactical Fitness Report. And today we are going to discuss some of the challenges that occur in special ops training specifically, such as sleep deprivation, long days of work, long nights when your days turn into nights, and it's a nonstop day, specifically Hell Week. Can you prepare for the 120 hours of being awake at Hell Week before you go? Or do you even need to? Is it just one of those things that, hey, you're going to get kicked? Might as well just, save it for
as fresh as possible.
Yeah. So anyway, we always get questions about that. Hey, should we stay up and, should I start taking night shifts and then trying to train in the morning? A variety of questions that come in concerning, like, how do you do it? One guy says, hey, I'm just going to go to spring break in Daytona and just stay up all night and party. I'm like, well, that's a form of Hell Week, I guess.
that's a different look at things there for sure.
I wouldn't recommend that for your long-term planning for training. So anyway, let's dig right into it. So what is your recommendation, Jeff, when someone says to you, hey, I'm worried about Hell Week. It's 120 hours. How do I stay awake for 120 hours? I've never done a all-nighter before.
Right.
Yeah,
I think that, to try to shine just a little bit of positivity on this side of, like, okay, can we actually advertise that there's a value to this? Here's the value that I can say of, like, well, if you're going to stay up to see, and we're talking a year out, months and months out. This is not part of training, but it might be one of those things that you just to drive home the value of sleep. A year out, pick a day, choose a day. Don't just randomly do it. Make it purposeful. Choose a day that you're going to purposely sleep deprive yourself around a training block that you normally don't have a lot of trouble with. So, anyways, I'm going to yell at my son for a sec. Mason, be quiet. So there. I'm going to throw scissors across the room.
Yeah, I was like, hey, hit him with
He's in a different room. He's not. I'm not going to throw scissors at my son directly at him. Anyways, because I don't care if they break. I care if my son breaks. But so let's say we do schedule a year out. Like, hey, I'm in a week 3 of a program that so far has been fairly predictable. Whether it's running, it doesn't matter what it is. Just to get an indicator. Give yourself 3 hours of sleep on purpose prior to that, and then train. Then you'll go, like, the obvious answer is going to be, man, I am tired. This was a terrible idea. Yeah. Now it's a terrible idea in the sense of minimal sleep, perform at a high level. It's not a terrible idea to go, I purposely didn't sleep to see how it negatively impacts my training. Right? Because whether you do that a year out, 6 months out, 3 years out, 3 months out, if you deprive yourself of sleep, whether it's by accident, it's by design, or it's a crazy busy day where you work long hours, especially if you're in the tactical space, you're a police officer working long hours, you get called at the end of your shift to go, like, there's a freaking concert here and they need extra young, just whatever, like, do the jobs that nobody wants to do or something that you didn't plan on. Yes, your training will suffer. Is it a good thing to have that in the back of your head to hammer home the importance of sleep and recovery? Yes. But it might be worth giving it a shot a year out to say, right? You might want to pick one even that's like, hey, I'm doing a tempo swim day that's not terribly hard, right? Give yourself 3 or 4 hours that night before and then go in the pool, and you're going to go, I can't catch my breath. That's what's going to happen. That's one of the things that's going to happen. It's just like, I'm not super sleepy because I've caffeinated up, but dang, I cannot catch my darn breath.
Yeah.
That is a direct correlation of lacking of sleep, is your ability to stay alert.
Yeah. You know what? It does become detrimental after a significant amount of time of no sleeping. So the last thing we would ever recommend is, do multiple nights in a row of no sleep or minimal sleep. less than 3 hours sleep, just because you're going to start experiencing all of those symptoms of overtraining, even though you may not even be overtraining. Because of your lack of recovery and your lack of sleep, you will exhibit all these overtraining symptoms, which can be detrimental to any of your progress that you've had, whether it's strength gains or cardiovascular gains. I mean,
it goes even deep, right? Just in the sense of feeling alert, let alone performance gain, right?
Yeah. I mean, there's another question too. College kids or kids are studying for finals. Do they pull the all-nighter and take their 8 a.m. course?
The answer is no.
I've done that once.
Yeah.
I've done that once, and it didn't help me.
Yeah.
Right. It was just one of those things that I felt like crap the rest of the day and wound up sleeping. As soon as the test was over, I was useless.
Just done. Yeah. It's like driving for a long, long time.
Yep.
Like, I'm just going to power through and drive this 12-hour drive, and you get there and like, I'm going to try to be productive. Nope. You're flying an international flight and you're like, well, I'm just going to stay awake for the first half, sleep for the second half, land, and then go right to work. Well, it kind of depends on the job, I suppose. But this is the thing here is the thing that Stu and I really want to convey. These are our words, is that the human body is exceptionally resilient, no doubt. Like that's why there's a conundrum to me. It's like the human resiliency is so very good that we can, for days and weeks and even months and even years in some cases, depending on the task, deprive ourselves a lot sometimes, or just in general deprivation, and still really perform at a fairly high level. It's because of resiliency of the human body and mind. It's not a testament to like say, well, I'll sleep when I'm dead, or I'll sleep when I'm retired. I'll do all. Okay, got it. You're right. We can go through. Yeah, people do it all the time. People retire after 40 years of X job with minimal sleep. My father did it for 38 years. He went on minimal sleep for 38 years. But when he retired, totally different person, right? Better mood, better everything. Like, just his overall health. Granted, he died of cancer a couple years after his retirement, but again, that's the whole other ball of wax of where the CDC has now listed one of the primary carcinogens
is stress,
is sleep, lacking of sleep and stress. Those are the two most like we talk about heart disease and cancer, so prevalent. They most certainly are. Well, one of the common threads for across the board for all of those sort of things is someone that has prolonged sleep impairment, okay, or a stressful job, or really if you have sleep impairment for a chronic timeline, you're going to definitely, me included, you're going to have a hard time managing stress over that period.
Oh, absolutely. In fact, you can say because you're not sleeping, you are putting yourself into a higher stress state.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just,
So the question
your life may not be stressed at all. Your life may not be stressed at all, but because of this lack of sleep, hormonally speaking, you are in a overtraining, overstress mode.
Yep.
So anyway.
So the question then, Stu, is then going, all right, you guys are saying that sleep is so paramount, but I train all these long times, or buds is coming, and how do I prepare for it? How do I prepare for it? And your answer, Stu, is?
You know what my answer is this. They just finished a hell week. Talked to a couple of guys that just made it through.
Yeah.
And, I remember having the conversation before they went about, the sleep deprivation. Then they were worried about it. Right. Yep. And I was like, look, man, you're going to be tasked with something to do for 120 straight hours. Right. There is not anything that, you don't have to like sit around, for, midnight until 2 a.m. trying to stay awake.
Yeah, you're going to be moving.
They are going to keep you awake, and they are going to keep you wet. They're going to keep you sandy. They're going to keep you moving. You're running on adrenaline for 120 straight hours.
Yeah.
Right. And that's how you get through that. So
it has
it really has very little to do with your ability to stay awake. It's just your ability to tolerate staying awake because they're keeping you awake.
If you look at, for those of you that have been through buds or been through Hell Week or have even just a general inkling, I want you to pay attention to something. especially even if you're watching the Buds Class 234 Discovery Channel thing or any some of the recent class posts, you'll notice that the motor function demand, the tasks that are asked of Buds candidates at the first day of Hell Week, they look tremendously different than the day 5 and 6.
Oh, absolutely.
Far less motor function, big gross motor movement, like get you walking. Like one of the things like on night 4 of Hell Week is they just had our paddles. We had our paddles, and all we had to do is spend 4 hours just trying to bury a boat. That's it. We just said this small, like half asleep, little bitty things, just because we look at each other and go, hey, we got to make this thing 4 hours long. We could bury this thing in 40 minutes.
Yeah.
But we know that we have 4 hours. Really, you know what I mean? We have hours, because it's like there is no lose at that point. When they give you a task like, hey, do this, they didn't say do it in X amount of time. So do it as slow as you can.
Yeah. You know, even if you're not trying, it's probably going to be as slow as you can.
It's still going to suck and be slow. So yeah. I'm not trying to I am not in saying disrespect the Buds cadre and drag your feet. That's not what I'm saying. Just, it's going to be difficult. Just know going in day 4, you're going to be like, well, we're not doing these like intricate PTs. We're just moving. They're just moving groups to different areas of the bases, right? They'll call it like the tour of the base. They have names for it.
Yeah.
They're going to have you at 4 a.m. when the sprinklers come on at McDonald's at NAB. You'll be there on time, because they're going to make you lay in it while everyone's driving through the McDonald's drive-through, feeling guilty while you guys are all laying in the front yard in their sprinklers. That's what they had in my Buds class too. And all these like fleet guys and like all the cadre there and all the classrooms in the area.
That's hilarious.
All of us Buds students are laying in the yard of the McDonald's as the sprinklers come on at 4 a.m. So it's just going to keep you guys moving. And if you can have just this little sliver of humility and sense of humor to survive that, you'll be good.
Yeah, that's a good point. You know, I will say this: if you have the opportunity, pull a night shift somewhere, right? Just pull a night shift, whether it's working in a factory or something, or moving stuff in a warehouse, whatever that is, loading up trucks. Yep. There are jobs out there that you might have a night shift option. Try it and just see what it's like. And then what I like to do when we were doing night shift stuff was work out before the night shift started, so I kind of got my metabolism up a little higher before like 10 o'clock at night, and then started the night shift part. I was awake for several hours because of that. Then you got to eat like it's daytime. So you don't want to skip what you normally don't eat from midnight to, you got to treat midnight like lunch, 3 in the morning like a snack, and then 6 a.m. like breakfast.
Yep.
Right. And then,
exactly.
and then hit your workout in the morning, and you're going to have the fuel there because you haven't starved yourself, even though you're going to be a little tired, a little groggy. Once again, maybe focus a workout that's a little more gross motor skills, right? Maybe it's just a run.
Do a PST.
A ruck.
Do a ruck, a mock PST.
Yeah, go for a swim, whatever that is. And I think you'll find that it'll be challenging, but it won't be impossible. You'll feel funny for staying up all night. It's a weird feeling in your throat.
Yeah.
I don't know what that is.
It's anxiety and stress. Like your body's going, this is not normal. You're supposed to be sleeping.
Yeah, it is very weird. And then when you go home, darken out everything and catch up on your sleep, because if you don't, it's going to crush you.
Yeah, and that's like one of the things. If you really want to test this, and I say months out, just kind of what students said. If you maybe already have a job, right, and you don't need to, you're like, oh, I can't pick up another shift. Well, do this instead. Like you have your 9-to-5 job. Do this on a Saturday so you can go back to bed.
Yeah.
Get up at midnight. At midnight, just start walking and rucking for 4 hours, nonstop. Easy, not hard. When the sun comes up, do a PST.
Nice.
You will see. You'll go, oh my God. Yeah, you're like, yeah, no kidding, Jeff. I'm tired. Well, that's if you want to actually simulate something that you can then recover from and manage on the back end, like what Stu is saying. Get up at midnight. At midnight, start moving, walk. Go for a walk. Don't stop. till 4 a.m., 4 or 5 a.m. the sun, or go to 1 a.m. when the sun rises around 5:30, something like that. When the sun's up, start your PST.
Nice.
See what happens, right? And then when you're done with your PST by 7 a.m. when you're done with it, eat food, go to bed.
Yep.
Right? And then don't stay up late that night, right? Don't sleep all day. Get your 3 or 4 hours, like you're saying, and then try and function. Yeah. Try and function at a high level. On a Saturday even, we're just like, man, you're like, people are already going, well, I already know what I'm going to do. I'm going to sit around all day. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Because you understand, like, what we're trying to do is just to get your mind to go a couple of things. Yes, I can do it. I can stay up, right? Number two, if I do that, I certainly can't expect me to perform at the same level. Now, some of you are always going to go, well, yeah, I work these weird shifts all the time, and that's when I have my best workouts. Okay, that's number one. It's anecdotal, but because at the end of the day, if we were to actually test you, you wouldn't be better.
Right.
No, and if that's the case, if you actually performed at a high level, you could write it off for a bunch of different things. You were deprived before.
Yeah. It's pretty good. I mean, if you can do that, that's great, but
that's not optimal, right? If you look at any competitive competition, Olympic competition or sports competition, the coaches and the trainers and the strength coaches and such, they don't prescribe sleep deprivation before each competition. They say, go home, get some sleep, get full nights, all those sort of things, right? We talk about it. Now, understand that at BUD/S and other certain selection courses, the full sleep in those cases might only be 5 hours for that day.
Yeah.
But again, that's also why the weekends, I encourage you all, that was the advice. So he texted me as well when he got secured at a Hell Week, sent me the photo. And I just said to him, I go, your goal is to eat and sleep all weekend up until Sunday. And then now you got to do your room inspection, right? They still have a room inspection the week after Hell Week. Yeah. Well, it's just a good time to just chill out and eat. That's it. And his response was like, I didn't know I could eat this much. Yep, exactly. Yeah. Your appetite in that selection is, to this day, I'm still not. I can eat a lot. But nothing like I've ever eaten at BUD/S.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
It's pretty crazy. So here's one question then, Stu, is that along these same sort of lines about sleep deprivation, okay, we've kind of talked about, maybe to try it, not to try it. So here, let's kind of start in no order. Let's start listing the reasons why you don't want to train sleep deprived. Now, understand, we get it. Many of these selection courses, you don't have this choice. So we're talking about prepping for it, training for it, developing tolerance for this fatigue. We don't develop tolerance for this level of fatigue by training while tired. You got to think of it as like building up a house, right? The better foundation, the more amenities we can attach to this house. The stronger your foundation of quality training, when you have to deviate from these normal sleep patterns, right, for a short period of time, a day, a week, even sometimes even a month, like you're just on short sleep because you're right. When you come back to it, if you've had a really good sleep regular program, your body will fall back into that. And that's really what it is try to maintain a pretty respectable sleep pattern throughout your selection and training, like you're prepping. So when you do encounter BUD/S or Ranger School, there are places you're like, well, this is temporary because I know when I come out of this selection, this 5-day, 3-day, whatever it is, I'm going to fall right back into my normal routine and actually be able to catch up. And that for me is my answer to people.
That's a great one, just because you're exactly right. You need to have a solid system to get good sleep.
Yeah.
Whether that is a ritual of many different things, you started off. I love the old the alarm clock. Set your alarm clock to go to sleep.
At night, yeah.
I mean, a lot of people don't do that. I never heard of it. I just heard of it like a couple weeks ago. You set an alarm clock at 10 o'clock or 9 o'clock, and that's like, okay, I need to start winding down. Sometimes you lose track of time. You just start winding down, and then that moves you into another phase. You get into your sleeping clothes, you brush your teeth, you do whatever, you lay down, silence, nothing, maybe read for 10 minutes, boom, then you're asleep, something like that, and you're out of there. get into those kind of rituals, and that's just going to help you even more, whenever you are trying to recover from this stuff. But, there's nothing wrong with trying to know your body. And I think that's what the general framework of these questions come in. I'm just trying to know my body. I'm trying to learn these new skills, trying to learn my body. I'm pushing myself higher than I've ever pushed myself physically and mentally. Now I need to do it with this sleep challenge, which is a big challenge. And I'd be honest with you, I don't think the lack of sleep of Hell Week is the challenge, because like I said, they're going to keep you awake. The challenge is the pain of Hell Week, being cold. And you're going to be fueled. You're not going to be hungry. So you got that stressor taken care of. You'll have plenty of food as long as you eat.
Yeah. If we just pause real quick, just listen to what Stu is saying. Like, the importance of, like, if you are going to go down this deprivation, whether it's on purpose or otherwise, the best way to slow that burn, that candle burning at both ends, the best way to slow it, we won't stop it, but the best way to manage it, when like, this is only going to last a week, a month, this might actually last 3 or 4 months. Now you're starting to see the importance of your diet.
Yes.
It's critical. It's both of them are critical. They're critical things, sleeping and eating.
Yep.
When one is lacking, one becomes far more critical. Even like, that is how human resiliency can do it, though. Like, that's the crazy thing. Because a lot of people that have a really good training regimen and a good regimen for life, just because of the nature of their life and work, and they're constantly sleep deprived, but they're on such a good regimen that they kind of, like, it can last for years.
Okay, yeah. Absolutely. No, that was great. Like I said, you're just trying to – I understand it. I get it. There are a lot of stressors that you put into your head before these journeys begin. Am I tough enough? Did I prepare enough? All those things. At some point, you just got to say, I'm ready. I'm ready to do it.
For sure.
And just go do it. You've worked on your weaknesses. You got those taken care of. They're no longer a weakness. Compared to your strengths now, you're kind of balanced out. You're kind of good at everything. Now it's time to, get some guts and go take a chance on yourself and go prove it to yourself that you can do this. So, I would say this, I'm not a big fan of staying up all night and not sleeping. Even when I was younger, it wasn't something that I did. I remember, one of our SEAL mentors at the academy, when we were talking about, Hell Week and stuff like that. And he goes, you know what? It's like getting kicked in the nuts. It's not something you want to practice.
No, right.
It's just.
Yeah, boxer doesn't become a better boxer by letting other boxers punch him in the face.
There you go. I
doesn't,
like that one.
But I understand the conundrum, folks. The conundrum is that, or the confusion is, like, we keep putting out these videos, and so many people do, about, like, here is how you improve all these aspects. Well, I'm here to tell you right now, I'll make this statement. There is nothing you can do that can replace the benefits of good sleep. There's no drug, there's no supplement, there's no mood enhancer, there's no desire, there's no motivation, there's no anything that can substitute quality sleep. That's not to say that we're not going to get the hours we need to sleep each and every single night. But when you can get them on the weekends, right? Like, that's the other side too, is that the weekends tend to be a place, a time for us to cut free from the monotony of life. And that ends up being more sleep deprived or more whatever. And I understand that. Like, I do. It's a lot of people work a lot of jobs that they don't particularly enjoy. They do because they have to. And so when the weekend comes, it's like, I want to get away from that as much as possible. But a lot of times sleep deprivation is a part of that weekend.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not going to talk so much about that civilian piece, but on the military side, law enforcement side, it's a double-edged sword, because that's when we can recover. That's also when we tend to want to get away. So we kind of got to pick both, one or the other, in my opinion.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, at some point you got to take your recovery seriously and realize that your number one recovery tool will be sleep. I would rather, if I'm going to set up my 24-hour day, I would rather work out really hard for a couple hours, eat well, get a good night's sleep so I can do that hard workout again versus stay up all day, do a hard workout, and then the next day have a crappy workout.
Yeah.
And the next day have a crappy workout. You see where it's going? It's just going to go downhill like the big snowball. And you can prevent that by just, you know, actually taking your sleep seriously. And be honest with you, I wouldn't sweat the sleep deprivation stuff. You know,
it's not something I would ever prepare for.
Yeah. I mean, 4-mile timed runs are going to get you kicked out faster than not being able to stay awake. You know what I mean? Because they're going to keep you awake at Hell Week. Yeah, you don't have to worry about falling asleep during Hell Week.
You don't have to keep yourself awake.
yeah, exactly. I mean, they will keep you awake. Even if you fall asleep, you know, they smack you around and they wake you up. You know, it's just
squirt lemon juice in your eyes. Yeah.
That's just how it works. You know, you will fail a 4-mile timed run every week at Bud's if you are not prepared, you know, for those 4-mile timed runs. And that will get you kicked out much, much quicker than, you know, you being able to not pull an all-nighter.
Yeah, like nobody has probably ever, I say nobody, I don't know how this would be measured, but I don't think anyone's ever been kicked out of Hell Week or Bud's for being one of anything, someone that can't stay awake, like just because they keep dozing off, or they have narcolepsy. You're not going to get in with narcolepsy. So I think understand there's a lot of mystery to it. There's a lot of unknown, which brings a lot of anxiety. You can't control that unknown.
Yeah.
What we can control is how we prepare for that unknown.
Yeah.
You know, that's where the physical and the mindset come together.
You know where I'm going to close this one off with this statement here. The one thing you will learn after Hell Week, after a successful completion of Hell Week, you will learn that your body is 10 times stronger than your mind will ever let it be.
Yep.
Does that make sense? Yeah, because we are probably sometimes our own worst enemy with, you know, anxiety and stress and trying to figure out, you know, worries and things like, you know, everything that accompanies, you know, these challenges, you know, but when you're done with that, you will honestly be able to say my body is 10 times stronger than my mind ever let it be. But at the same point, obviously your mind is pushing you to keep doing this. If you got the right mindset, you don't want to crush it. I mean, it is a mind thing, but you will be surprised at the resiliency of your body, as Jeff says.
Yep. Don't take it for granted. That's the big one. I think that's my summary is there are a lot of things you can train for. There are some things you cannot in the same manner, right? Like to get bigger, we spend more time lifting weights, for example, whatever it is. For us to become better, more tolerant of sleep deprivation, it's getting enough sleep when we can, so we can optimize that deprivation, if you will.
That's a good way to put it, because it's that confusing. I mean,
there's no way to prepare for it.
Yeah.
You know, it's just, that's not how, that's one of those things that I think that's the way we're made. We're made to be optimal when sleep is at its best.
Right. We're made to go to sleep.
Yeah, that's one thing. There's one documented case in the book. There's a book, Why We Sleep. It's a really fantastic book that it outlines the single documented case of someone dying from lack of sleep with some crazy special disease, some rare disease this guy had, and he went like, forgive the misquote, but it was a while. It was like 37 days without sleep before he died. Like, and it was just miserable. His entire body just shut down. He went from he was a big guy. He was a school teacher. Damn. Like 6'4", former college football player, 6'4", like 240, 230. When he died like at 140, like 37 days later.
Oh my gosh.
Just nothing functioned. He just couldn't sleep. Some crazy disease that wouldn't allow his body to sleep. It's just petrifying. That's a horror movie right there. Listen to that. Because they die. And the only reason why that it's so well documented, it just so happened to be like when he went in, he happened to be in an area where there was some sleep specialty, and he went and saw these sleep specialists in a short period of time. Like that might have been like Johns Hopkins or something, like a fairly prestigious hospital. And they followed him every day until he died. They're like, this is a rare case. We need to document this. Wow. But anyways, it's worth a read. Why we sleep. It's one of my favorite books on sleep, and it hammers in a very. It's not one of those books where you need a dictionary to read it. You know what I mean? It right. Really, in layman's terms, it does a pretty good job of laying everything out. It does a good job of diving into physiology, a real good job, but it's not overly complex at all, even for someone that's novice. So nice. I recommend that for sure.
Oh, that's smart.
All right, Stu. I appreciate it.
All right, man. Yeah. So, yeah, get some sleep, work out hard. Don't kill yourself. Yeah, don't kill yourself.
Sleep a lot, train a lot, eat a lot. Repeat.
Yeah. Like I said.
That's what SEAL stands for, right? Sleep, eat, lift.
Yeah.
Sleep, eat, and lift. That's what
I like it. Yeah. All right, Jeff, we're done. I appreciate it.
Take care,
folks.